Hello, Professor Dubé, and hello, anybody else who might be listening to this. I'm Yolanda Calderon, and today I am going to be speaking to you a little bit about the environmental organization that I chose for my project, which is the Consejo Cívico de Organizaciones Populares e Indígenas de Honduras, or as it is known in English, the Council of Popular and Indigenous Organizations of Honduras. So this organization rises as a grassroots movement in the Lenca region of Honduras, and it is dedicated to the defense and protection of the Lenca people's autonomy. This organization has as a mission focusing on the protection of the Intibucá environment, as well as rescuing Lenca culture through providing around 200 communities with the tools and resources that they need to protect their autonomy, self-determination, lands, and traditions. This organization resists the violence of patriarchy, neoliberalism, and other effects that are caused by colonization and neocolonization of Lenca culture. So particularly interesting, I found that this organization approaches their work from ecofeminism, placing a special attention to the Lenca indigenous woman as a leader and to empowering and protecting the Lenca indigenous woman. So the work of the organization is carried out in just around 200 communities over 6 states. And the communities that this organization works with are usually the most vulnerable communities who are under threats such as privatization of their lands and other neoliberal processes like mining, deforestation, dam construction. So essentially, the council protects the Lenca peoples in the Lenca region from possible land loss, displacement, loss of community, and loss of tradition, which are some of the things that we have been exploring in class. So the Council of Popular and Indigenous Organizations, this organization, was founded in 1993 by Berta Cáceres, the Goldman Environmental Prize receiver in 2015, who is a renowned indigenous and environmental rights activist, but who was murdered in 2016 after she was leading peaceful protests in the Lenca region against the building of a dam by the Desa Construction Company. I'll be speaking a little bit more about Berta Cáceres in just a moment, but right now I'm going to get back to the organization. So the organization has an aim to protect Lenca tradition, and cosmovision. And the cosmovision of the Lenca peoples is to be in harmony with nature. So the council works through a range of projects to carry out its mission. It's quite the range. And they have implemented programs like the bilingual intercultural education program, which focuses on educating and forming teachers within Lenca communities so that these communities can have access to educators who approach education from their own indigenous perspective. The organization has also created nursing educational programs so that people within their communities can be trained as nurses and apply ancestral medicinal knowledge within their communities. As I said earlier, the organization gives special attention to the protection and empowerment to the Lenca woman. So the organization has created a house for healing. It's called the House of Healing and Justice of the Woman of the Council. And this is a refugee house for women, children, and really any member of their community who is in need of shelter and protection. The organization also makes an effort to keep the people within their community connected and informed. So they have created about 5 radio channels, including La Voz, which informs the community of regional and national matters of interest, as well as of what's going on within the organization. So of course, this organization has got a lot of attention, both good and bad, for their achievements. And a member of the organization in a YouTube video that I watched about them actually said that he believed that the organization was perceived as a thorn on the side of the Honduran government. This has caused intimidation and persecution against members of the council, which of course resulted in the assassination of the founder of the organization, Berta Cáceres, and also resulted in the assassination of another woman leader of the organization, whose name was Lesbia Orquilla. And both of their murders happened in 2016, just a couple months from each other. However, throughout all this adversity, experiencing the assassination of their leader and constant harassment and threats against their members, the organization has persevered and has become a model for Indigenous, and not only Indigenous, but for all social movements in general. And overall, I believe that this is because the Council of Popular and Indigenous Organizations of Honduras has truly been effective, because it has emphasized the protection of Lenca culture and cosmovision. And it has emphasized the Lenca cosmovision of being in harmony with nature always. And the organization has strived above all to reach social justice. This movement actually reminds me a little bit about the Tiny House Warriors movement that is actually resisting the Trans Mountain Pipeline project here in BC. And I think that these organizations remind me of each other because of the value and emphasis that they place on the women in their communities and the matriarchs in their communities. And both of these organizations and movements also quite literally place themselves between the colonizer or between the oppressive force that is trying to come in and harm their livelihoods and their lands and their communities. So Berta Cáceres' murder was actually, the case for her murder was actually closed in 2018, but the man who was charged, of course, still claims that he is innocent. And the organization still faces a lot of backlash and intimidation to this day.